Hello and welcome to Lostinsouthoz. Today we're at Woodville Station at the beginning of the Finsbury Line. I'm Bridget.
I'm Julie.
And where we're walking is where the old Finsbury train going on the Finsbury Line this would have been the platform. And we're walking the actual route. And yes, it has been raining today. To our left would have been...
Left.
Try right. Left is the platform, so we're looking at the platform edge here. And our right, which you can see is all construction. They're putting in a whole new housing depot, but...
Sorry, my notes didn't answer that question.
But where we are now, it's now a cycle track.
The whole area here was originally basically a big grassy plain between Port Adelaide and Adelaide, known in the Aboriginal language as Mikawama. The area was settled in the 1840s by Europeans. And to give you an idea of how much of a plain it was, 1854, this whole area between where we are down to Port Road, up to Torrens Road and up to Cheltenham Road was burnt out by bushfire, which is a little hard to imagine these days.
Yeah, so
very little housing, all scrub.
Yeah, so let's just look back onto the platform for people, because what we have here in the railway corridor is now a Y junction where...
To the left you've got the line to Grange, in the middle you've got the line to Outer Harbour, and where the bike track is was the line to Finsbury.
Finsbury Line. And that would have emptied... Where would that have gone when it met the other main line out that way?
It met the other main line up near Wingfield.
Okay, so, and we can briefly mention that originally that whole island in the middle was Woodville Holden, but yes, I've mentioned it, but that is no longer the Holden factory. It's been bulldozed.
Correct.
And this actual video we're doing is on the Finsbury Line rather than the Holden. I'm sorry about that, but that'll have to wait for another time. So there's the entrance to the platform. We'll swing around. So we'll come back in. And as you can see, we'll have a look. There's a lot of new housing development happening there, as most of South Australia there is. And a lot of these gum trees are original, so they would have been here when the tracks were going through. So
yeah, where you can.
And there was two. There was how the. I was going to say, I'll stop here for a minute. So there was one siding coming down here from the platform.
Yes.
And the other siding for the loop back for the Finsbury Line, because it did enter the Winfield line, but there was a secondary siding going in that joined into this one, coming from some of the centre tracks up here on the main line. So we'll point that out, but we'll look over here. And I don't know what would have been here originally.
This is where the the actil factory was over there.
The actil factory was further down. You can see the tank in the background. That's up on the main road there where the actual Finsbury platform would have been, but that'll come further in the video.
This is part of the Woodbury estate, the old Woodville estate. And the building in the background there is the site of David Bower's house, St Clair.
Yeah, which is now, there's now, what's there now?
It's now community centre.
Part of the school or something, isn't it?
No, it's a community centre.
But it's long gone, so nothing here is original.
So the new suburb of St Clair, which is ahead of us, that was, I presume, named after the St Clair house.
Yeah, so most people will tell you they're from Finsbury. He's up near where the Finsbury Station was, but yeah.
Well, that's Finsbury up there.
It's an old baseball cap.
All this land that we can see ahead of us and on our right, except for the rail corridor, was owned by David Bower. He bought that in 1893.
Yep.
And David Bower was twice an MP, Member of Parliament for Port Adelaide. He was also Mayor of Port Adelaide. He was a businessman, philanthropist and builder.
Because as you can see, down here, we'll just show them through the fence. There's a piece of old track down here. So that would have been when they pulled up the old tracks through here, which goes, I believe, under the tree roots of that tree. So, yeah. But it's been thrown to the side and reclaimed by nature, I'd say. But, you know, just an incidental thing. And this little alley, avenue coming in here,
That's Actil Avenue.
Which has since been fenced off. That's where Actil Avenue comes out.
Yes.
So it never actually, this roadway never actually came in here or across the tracks. That was just the end of it.
Yeah, correct.
And in fact, the boom gates would have been, they would have been locked because this would have been an active corridor.
Yeah, through here, correct.
Yeah.
But Actil Avenue was the road access to the Actil factory.
Yeah, which is back there somewhere. But yeah, up that road, that's just the other side of it all.
So the factory was on the left,
yeah,
direction you're facing now.
We're going up there and we'll show everyone. Yeah, and when we came here before, looking at the actual property here on this corner of Actil Avenue, we noticed that there are 3 different kinds of Stobie poles, which one's got a transformer on it and the other 2 look more heavy gauge, so ball 15. And then you look at this little marker here. Has got something on it, which is I think it's for cables underneath. Yeah, it's a cable marker, but it's really old. So
where this brick building is there, that was, we think, an old railway.
Might have been an old railway
transformer.
But
railway land.
But now it's been used.
Land.
But now it's been used by a community group. So obviously the transformers are gone. Oh well, things move on. And the interesting thing, when you looked at the property boundaries and where the old rail was, we actually think the rail track actually started to curve through this block of flats, these units that are here, not go beyond them, because there's not enough turning space. So if you look at the tracks here, probably the far track would have been the one that turned in between the Stobie poles.
Correct.
And the other one would have started turning and cut the corner, because there is an easement as we turn to the right.
There is.
But it's not actually the rail easement.
And we'll show you the difference in the gum trees
the rail,
that mark the boundary.
The rail actually went through all these flats, so it would have went through this flat on the corner. So it's been obviously reassigned. Doesn't actually follow the pathway now. So you would have had the other track coming through to meet this one by now, and then both making a junction or completing like going off on the same siding and becoming one track here, wouldn't it?
Yes, I think it became one track.
So they all would have probably turned this corner, because you see we've got brand new gum trees here, like very young gum trees, you want to put it that way, and the other ones on the corner here are much older. So
the boundary for the racecourse land and the railway corridor and the Actil factory land went between the older gum trees and the younger ones.
So all these new units here wouldn't have been here, because that's just where the tracks went through. So we'll come through here and cut through here. This is where the rail would have went through, and then straight through that block of units there.
That unit that's straight ahead of us.
Yeah, so it's easy to think that easement was where the rail went. No, it didn't. It actually went straight through where we're walking now.
And the easement is there at least in part because there's electricity lines running
Yeah,
through
well,
it.
it's still been part of the corridor, but it would have been the outer boundary of the corridor.
The outer boundary, correct.
Where this whole block of units we're looking at here would have been the boundary of the corridor that way.
Yes.
Because you've got to have so many feet either side of the centre of the corridor. So, yeah, if that makes any sense.
As best I can tell, the railway line went through here.
Yeah.
You then had the land boundary, and in this easement there was electricity cables underground.
And they're all
so
still
the
there. Like,
electricity company had
we
a
just,
right of easement over it.
Yeah, and we just passed the main sewer and all that. So, and back again here, a train going through behind us. But yeah, you would be forgiven for thinking this is all there was for a corridor. No, it was much bigger than that.
To get the idea, on the right hand side, imagine a steam engine with its carriages going through.
Yeah. So this, we're coming up to a reserve. I think it's got a soccer and footy things.
And the boundary between the actil land and the racecourse land runs right through the middle of this new reserve.
So I mean, and what we're talking about here is the Finsbury Line, and we're talking about 1941. But before then, there was still a line going through here.
No, the line didn't go through till 1941.
No, that's what I'm thinking.
There was no line before.
No line. So, but the racecourse was here.
The racecourse
and that was
here.
What, 1920s, you reckon?
It's been a racecourse since 1893. Where are we? I'm just checking. 1896.
Julie's done extensive research, and as you know, she's the one that does the research for the channel. So if you can imagine where we are here,
we're on the boundary.
So to the left of us,
on our left,
is Racecourse land.
Racecourse.
So if we spin around here,
and it was leased until 1921 from David
Bower.
So
all this park is the boundary of the racecourse, but the racecourse went way back beyond all these,
back up to Cheltenham Road.
Up to Cheltenham Road, beyond all these houses. All these houses are sitting on racecourse land.
Okay. The whole suburb of St Clair is the old racecourse.
Yeah, so let's go across, and we'll go across here.
And the racecourse bought the land in 1921.
Come with me, otherwise I can't hear.
Yeah, they bought the land in 1921.
Yeah, but it became, was it vacant by then? There was something to do with the deed, wasn't there? So anyway, Julie, let's put ourselves back in way beyond the Finsbury Line, before the ammunition factories.
Mm-hmm.
Right here, it was before 1900s. The racecourse was out here.
Yeah.
Right, and the racecourse was it acquired land from the government, or
no? It was leased off David Bower when
and,
he
and
owned
who
the land.
And who was he?
He was he was known as the father of Port Adelaide. He was twice a member of Parliament for Port Adelaide, and he was mayor of Port Adelaide as well. He was a philanthropist. He gave a lot of donations to community facilities and such like. And he was a builder as well. He died in 1898, and it took,
Let's keep walking.
20 odd years to sort out the will.
And to give you an idea, that in the horizon out that way, and I'm just going to zoom in, there's a mosque there, and that was where the old Finsbury platform was, the old Finsbury Station. And the edge of the estate was somewhere around that water tower. And was the water tower there when this?
It was, as far as I can tell.
So that was there. So that's where the mobile phones are all on the side of. So to give you an idea, the Finsbury Line went directly straight through where we're looking. So that's why we're walking across the oval the way we are now. Can you add anything else to the racecourse? And over here, spinning around this way, was the old actil factory.
Yes.
And what did they do?
That's a slightly interesting story. they basically made cotton fabrics. The equipment came out from England, and the company was going to establish a factory in Java, but this was the beginning of World War II. Japanese were advancing towards Java, and so they decided not to go to Java and wound up in Adelaide, and the government here saw an opportunity and helped them to build the plant here, which became known as Actil, Australian cotton.
They made bed sheets and all sorts of stuff,
yeah,
did they?
Yeah, they were the
Very
predecessor
famous.
to the Sheridan
And
bed sheet brand.
And their factory would have been probably some of that housing, you reckon?
Pretty much where we're looking.
And going all the way out to the main road.
Yeah, pretty much.
What's that road again?
Actil Avenue, Torrens Road.
Yeah, so you had the racecourse, and then, so by 1941, was the racecourse still here, or was it
the
gone?
racecourse was here
Actil factory was still here.
It was still here. Yeah, that's when the Actil factory opened. The racecourse was still here till 10 years, 20 years ago, something like that. Yeah.
So what you were now on the picture of 1941, and they've built the railway, and you've got the racecourse to one side, the Actil factory going to the other side. There would have been sidings going both ways, and we're heading. I believe there would have been an Actil station as well.
Yes, can we head up this way and we'll go as close as we can to
the Actil station. Because the main line's heading down towards these toilet block here, but there would have been a siding to the Actil station.
Where this white vehicle is ahead of us,
there would have been tracks.
The line went through there.
Yeah. So it would have come into the Actil station. There would have been a siding going into the Actil station and coming back out.
No, Actil station was on the main line.
On the main line, so it didn't go that way. It went this way.
But
and then it did a sharp. I believe it did a sharp right-hand turn to align itself back with the
behind these flats. It did a right-hand
to Finsbury
curve.
platform. Yeah.
Yes.
And I believe from there's actually a factory in there at the moment, and they've now got the roadways and the easement for the rail line as well. So we can't actually walk on that now. So we're going over towards this way?
We're going towards this way. I believe there's a pathway down here.
Yeah.
We're going to follow and see where it goes, basically.
I'm trying to get Julie more involved in telling us what she's done. Julie's been working on the history for this line for a while now. Because
I look back through the old title deeds.
Yeah.
To find out who owned what.
Who owned what and when. That's why we're getting the dates, because that's why it's important. We've got what was the land was vacant and then acquired in before 1900s for the racecourse.
Okay, the land was it was vacant. It was owned by people prior to David Bower, but it was David Bower that kind of bought the land and combined it together into one property.
So he changed all the deeds and amalgamated everything. And,
correct.
And then eventually the racecourse came about.
Yes, he owned the land when the racecourse was set up.
In 1921?
In 1896, but they leased it until 1921, after which they bought it.
Okay, and where would the Actil train station have been?
Okay,
let's get across here.
Through here, as best I can tell.
I'm sorry, I'm getting a bit bumpy. I'm walking up and down things. So was the.
We're going to go down this path, and then the station was up here.
So it was named Actil Station after Actil Factory.
Actil, correct.
Just like the Finsbury platform was named after the Finsbury ammunition, and we say ammunition because they made shell casings and they made fuse casings.
Well, Finsbury was named after the suburb.
After the suburb, but the factory was named after that. And those shell casings were sent up to the Salisbury munitions factory, where they actually made all the explosives or gunpowders and loads everything. Well, no, we're going to do the other side with the shell casings in the next video.
Okay.
So where would the station you reckon would have been?
I'm thinking. Bear with me for a minute.
We'll walk along here.
I couldn't tell exactly, because while I have an old photo from 1945, I haven't got an exact sort of measurement for where the station was.
But it would have been somewhere along here before it turned.
Somewhere along here, correct.
Before it got to I forgot the factory that's still sitting there that's now occupying that land.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that
The
land
plastics
was owned by Actil.
No.
Actil Station closed in 1970.
Yeah.
I have to assume Actil factory was there until around then as well.
We'll just keep going, moving.
But I forgot to look up the
So
closing date.
we sort of think the station would have been around this area.
Somewhere around this area.
Although Julie's done a lot of extensive research, even when you're looking at rail diagrams.
I need to give credit for a lot of the background information to a page on Flickr. A person put up a photo of David Bower's old house, which is on the site of the current St Clair Community Centre.
Look at that.
And she put up that photo, and I think it was a she, and did a lot of the research, and I've copied off her works there.
So we're looking at a large piece of iron.
We are.
Looks like railway, doesn't it?
Yes, the railway platform would have been about here.
Yeah, that looks like railway, like they've chopped up, like old supports, you know, supporting beams and stuff. So
when I say I've done a lot of research, the person who wrote the information with the photo of the old house, they went through and looked through old newspapers and made a large listing of what they'd found. And I saved myself a bit of time and...
Yeah, so you research online, but you put it all together, but say this is where the station would have been about.
About here.
Yeah, and there would have been a single track and a single platform.
And the line curved off on the other side of this fence and...
Well, I think it went round this sort of place, didn't it?
Yeah, it didn't come through here.
Yeah.
It curved, there's a factory here, it curved through the other side.
And went through there, did it?
Yes.
And then turned away from these buildings, but we'll walk through.
It wasn't through here, but this will take us up to Torrens Road, I think.
So at what point do you think that the railway would have turned from here?
Because back there where this fence...
Where this fence is, you reckon that would have started turning? So the platform would have been there somewhere, between there and there?
The platform would have been, I don't know, where we were standing before, knew where that iron piece of iron was.
Everything in this side over here
was
Racecourse, and everything on the other side over that way was actil.
Railcorridor
and actil over there.
And actil.
Right. So should we walk up to the main road and look at?
I'm thinking, walk down this path
and then catch up with everyone down there.
Turn right.
Is there anything else you want to say about those areas? Before
not
we go
about
up
these areas, but I just want to say for the person who did that Flickr page, I'm sorry I didn't note your name, but I want to acknowledge that I'm using the research that you'd done. The title deed research was all mine though.
And what about the gentleman that had gives this area a big links into Port Adelaide? Yeah,
well, this was his residence for Port Adelaide. The racecourse was Port Adelaide Racing Club.
Yeah.
So in those days, this was the bottom end of Port Adelaide.
And he was he a member of the council? Or?
He was mayor. He probably made him a member of the council, but they had a few different names that I got a bit lost in back then. But he was also local. He was local member of Parliament, and the Port Adelaide electorate at that time included all of the York Peninsula, like Wallaroo and stuff.
I believe that when it became after that, it became a race course, and you were telling me something earlier about one of the famous horses.
Oh, if anybody's heard of the racehorse Tulloch, who was a well-known Melbourne Cup winner earlier last century. Tulloch was also the first racehorse in Australia to break the 100,000 pound in winnings barrier, and the race in which he broke that barrier was here at Cheltenham.
At Cheltenham. So, and also for our UK viewers, we stopped having pounds in '66 when we went to the decimal currency.
Correct.
So we don't know what year that was, but we don't use pounds anymore. Okay, we're gonna just momentarily shut the camera down, and we'll walk up because we've got to walk off the Finsbury Line to catch it up where it catches up the other end near the Finsbury Station.
Correct.
So until then, we'll see you there. Now, this is not where this is the old, probably in the distance would be the cartridge filling, or actually I think they're fuse filling buildings in the distance down there. And this is walking, and this would have been part of the old factories.
It was, yes.
But this is still not where the train line is. But ahead of us is the old mosque. And the mosque is actually sitting on the...
Number 2 general store. Yeah, see the storage place is?
Yeah.
Number 2 general store.
So you're saying this one here is the old... That's the general store there?
General store building, number
right.
2.
And on the corner was the station, where Finsbury Station was. This is Trident's Plastics, which is... That's why we can't walk the line anymore, because Trident's Plastics now owns the railway corridor behind it.
And
so
there's 2 platforms and about 5 tracks.
We'll get up to it.
So the whole area.
Let's move along. Let's move along. So you're looking at the mosque, and that water tower was there too, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
We've got a fair bit to go now, Jules. Let's walk up. So I just want to get up to the corner for you, and you know, I could dawdle, but all that does is add more time to the video, and we just want to get down and get you the information, because we've put a lot of research into this. Oh, what's this? Don't look on that. And going down one side of this street would have been a tram line.
Yeah, so the tram line down Torrens Road, and what we're looking at ahead here on this corner is the railway line, the Finsbury railway line crossed Torrens Road, and it crossed the tram line.
So you would have had one roadway that would have, so one railway line would have come out about here where we are here.
Somewhere here, yes.
This is the old, this would have been the old corridor, which is where these gates are.
That's correct.
Where this was the old railway corridor, it would have went behind the factory, yes. And it would have kicked to the right going this way.
Yes.
So this would have been the old railway corridor. And now Trident Plastics, it's now their land.
Yes.
And then it would have gone straight across this road.
Where we're standing is the rail line.
And it would have gone straight through that mosque, and behind that mosque is now a cemetery. So yes. The cemetery wasn't there originally. I'll get out of the gateway of this plastics factory. And then behind here, there was how many platforms?
2 platforms and about 5 tracks.
And then a siding going into into that storage place that
Correct.
was once a storeroom. So it would have gone off the platforms.
Yes.
Which probably would have been
went off at the other end
as well.
Yeah.
But that's for next our next episode in this series. But
yes.
If you can just imagine, this mosque is not here. As beautiful as it seems. And the train track. So right here you would have had train tracks going across this road. You would have had down this road. You would have had trams.
Yes.
And then you could see 2 big platforms and a heap of sidings and tracks going into all these warehouses starting to start. And on this side, you've got the water tower, which would have been there because they knew
it was there in at least 1945.
Yeah, back in the war days when in the Second World War, when this factory was built in 1941. So that would have been the factory land where the tank is, and that factory on the corner there was part of the government munitions place. I mean, there was actually a mill in there too, wasn't there?
I can't remember.
Yeah, all right, well, that'll be coming in our next episode. I hope this has been interesting to a lot of you people out there interested in rail, and we've covered some tram here. The tram line would have went straight down this road, and that land there was not, although it was Finsbury train station, it wasn't part of the munitions plant. So that was accessible by public.
Yes.
All right. I'd like to thank you all for watching. I know it's been a bit of a talky one, this one, but it's had to be because we're looking at the history. We're looking at the history, and a lot of the history, as far as the Finsbury ammunition plant is concerned,
or for that matter, the Finsbury rail line,
is concerned, it's gone.
it's gone. But what we can show is where it was.
And next time we'll get into the Finsbury munitions plant, and a lot of it's still there, and some of the tracks are still there. So look, please.
We won't have access inside the buildings because they're all privately owned.
But we'll show you, walk you around the railway line, and show you where it went, and tell you about what some of the factories did.
Yeah.
But do subscribe, because a lot of our premieres, if you want to be part of the live conversation, subscriptions are required. Otherwise, please watch the videos and enjoy them and like them. And I look forward to getting into this next one, because this is a lot of history coming up.
Yes.
Both rail and Second World War.
Yeah.
I'm Bridget from Lost in South Oz.
Julie.
All the best, and I hope you enjoyed the video.